So Martin Luther King Day is coming up.
Right.
Um,
Tomorrow, I guess, from where we, right? This is
yep,
Sunday. Tomorrow's would be,
yep,
yep.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time this interview completely airs, this will be after Martin Luther King Day. But I do want to upload something for Martin Luther King Day. So I want to just first make the point that, in his own words, MLK Jr. was a socialist, was a
Yeah.
democratic socialist
Right.
specifically.
Yeah.
Um, so in any way you can just kind of take this wherever you want. Please speak to MLK and his radicalism and his belief in not only racial equality but economic equality as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. For a start, MLK's father, Martin Luther King Sr., okay, who was a minister as well in Atlanta, that's where it begins, was very much a Roosevelt Democrat. And let's make it clear, Roosevelt he didn't use his term for what he was a liberal, as he put it, left of center. But he was a social democrat. The whole new look, the creation of Social Security, the signing of the National Labor Relations Act, the creation of the Rural Electrification Agency. I mean, on and on and on. You can go all the way through the New Deal years. The engagement and the empowerment of workers. Roosevelt, by any standard, would have to have been dubbed in his day a social democrat. And he actually would quote Lincoln's idea of government to explain his own idea of government, that we create government to do for ourselves what we cannot do by ourselves. Okay. So Martin Luther King was a very bright young guy, and he ended up going to college. It was Morehouse College in Atlanta when he was only a teenager. I think he might have entered college at 15. And while he was there, he was very much, yeah, 15. He was very much influenced by, first of all, his father, who was very much a supporter of Franklin Roosevelt. But he was also very much by, and I'm forgetting his name, by the head of the president of Morehouse College, who was very much a sort of active civil rights, social democratic kind of thinker. But the other thing is, and this is not often recognized, is that I think it was in 1944, no later than 45, that A. Philip Randolph, America's leading Black labor leader of the 20th century, who headed the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters and was himself a socialist. Very important. And the same man who launches the March on Washington movement in 1941 after he hears Roosevelt's speech for the four freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. And that's that same movement and that same man who was really the, if you like, the godfather or the figure who creates the March on Washington movement of 1963. And I'll just point it out to people now. So with the assistance of Bayard Rustin and also the direct assistance of Walter Reuther, who was the head of the United Auto Workers, who was also historically a socialist, they create the March on Washington movement to recreate it. And in August, late July or August of 63, there is the famous March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, at which Martin Luther King Jr. gives his famous speech, I have a dream. But I want to go back again to explain the connection. So Randolph came to the college, Morehouse College, to speak, invited by the president of the college, while King was a student. And he didn't just speak for one day. I believe he was there for several days, meeting with the students and talking. And it's pretty clear from the biographies that I've read of King that was very influential in King's thinking. That may even have made him even, it may well have turned him into the democratic socialist he later is evident. Now, and the other thing about it, and you're absolutely right, King believed not only, I mean, he was not only a civil rights leader, and that's crucial to recognize, but at the same time, he believed fundamentally in the imperative for civil rights and the labor movement to be united. And in some ways they were, and in some ways they tragically were not. But let's not forget, there were Black unions, like such as A. Philip Randolph's, also unions that really worked in the sort of commercial sector. Um, there were unions that in spite of all the racism that prevailed in certain sectors of the labor movement, there were also integrated unions, International Ladies Garment Workers Union and others. So King himself is a civil rights leader and in his own way, he actually becomes a voice of labor, not just not just through the many years he's speaking on behalf of civil rights, calling on labor to unite, but also let's not forget that his final campaign, as such, is in 1968 in Memphis, and he was there because of Black sanitation workers who were on strike. I mean, people who had really endured terrible conditions of employment and had gotten to the point where they were organizing and they were demanding recognition and they were demanding decency. And he was there, right, to join, to be in solidarity with them, and that's where he was assassinated. So you might say, to the end, he was very much committed to civil rights and to labor, and labor, both black and white, but on that occasion, it was black workers. So yeah, democratic socialists, absolutely.